Imagine a world of war and magic, of inventions and factions. A world where you are the character and you drive history forward. This is Aetos, and this is Season 10, The Dark Days. It all started with the fall of Imatarita. The Dronlandi and Xaedans had been berating the Imataritans and Taeans for months. Then finally, they broke through their defenses, taking over the capital of Serra Altona, enslaving the Imataritans, and slaying the Taeans. They left the rest to run for their lives.
It's messy. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to bring it back under our control and to expel the invaders. Our people never really wanted to be part of this fight, but now that that ship has sailed, I think it's time to remind the rest of them to respect their elders.
Do you have a plan to take back Imatarita?
As much force as we can muster. Gather as many of the laurels that have escaped and form a solid fighting group to retake our capital.
Do you have a plan to deal with the Gendroni? Currently they are helping you, at least some of the mountain tribes are.
Try to maintain as good of an alliance as we can. We put a lot of faith into Talar, but unfortunately, Talar's been having their own setbacks as of late, so their usefulness as an ally has been rather strained.
Speaking of Talar, what do you think about Commander Nexus claiming the throne of Talar after the disappearance of King Drado?
I can only hope that the new monarch of Talar is better than their forebear. Okay. Clearly there was something that needed to be addressed in that setting that, well, it sat for far too long.
Do you have a plan for what will happen when you take back Imatarita?
We need to get our people back into fighting shape. It should have never come to this, but it should have also never been allowed to go so far as losing our capital. We may be a peaceful folk, but that doesn't mean we can be complacent.
So you think of remilitarizing Imatarita?
I believe so, if that's what it comes to.
Okay. And what happens if you are not able to retake Imatarita? What happens when your people just dwindle out and the Dronlandi and Des have their way in your land?
We can only hope that we buried our secrets deep enough that they won't find it, at least not in this era. Maybe when milder-tempered men become the leaders of their groups, they'll see a little bit of sense and caution.
It was all wins for Droneland. They were winning against the orcs in the northwest of Gendron and defying the orcs a chance at a northern offensive. But the orcs weren't done with them yet. The Gendroni mountain tribes in the west of Gendron had spotted the Des as they were passing through on their way to Imatarita. And what they discovered was that the Des were interrogating and even torturing some of the laurels. So the Gendroni and the Imataritans joined forces together to fight back against the Des, and this meant that the Dronlandi and the Gendroni once again met in battle. But Droneland wasn't entirely the bad guy.
I'm gonna go to the laurels and offer them no blade but my open hand. Hopefully we can talk. I need their knowledge, not by axe, but by their own will.
What do you think of the Des attempts to get the knowledge? They've been a little bit brutal recently.
Not right. They need, even if they're elderly, they need patience.
So you want to go to the the Imataritans in friendship and ask for their cooperation. What is your plan to do that? Do you have something to offer them?
Offer them back their land and control over it. We shall be a better protector than Talar. and we should offer people who want to learn from them so they can help others, not themselves. Before we even tackle Taylor, we're gonna put the orcs through the blade first, just to get them out of the way. They're just an annoyance that we cannot afford to have as an enemy.
That is an interesting point, and I want to ask you a little bit more about that. The Gendroni have allied themselves with Imatrida, and that does make your proposition a little bit more difficult. They have been staunchly fighting you in Gendron, and now they're siding themselves with Imatrida. What are your plans for that? Do you think that Imatridans will side with you since you are fighting them?
I don't expect them to, but it'll be hard to have a staunch ally if their ally is being attacked on their own lands. So while I approach peacefully, I'm sending Jarl Maximus of Featherstone to attack Dendron.
So then what is your plan for Taylor? Once you have taken Terran, what is your end goal with Taylor?
To have all the northern Taylor split by the river. The rest of it goes down to Gahar, so it's not an even split, but a good split.
Very interesting.
I just need some more land. They have it. Mm-hmm. And I also need to surround the wastes. Don't like the wastes.
Right. So, since you brought up the wastes, there have been rumors of dark attacks on some farms. I'm sure you as general have heard them and some of the reports.
Yes.
There have also been sightings around the borders of the wastes. What have you to say about that?
Another reason why I need Taylor is so I can build defenses around the entirety of the wastes, and if anything comes out there, I want to be prepared. So, because I can't trust anyone to do it themselves.
Everybody has their own opinions. What do you think is inside the Whispering Wastes?
Help. The demons and the creatures that have come for the world tree and take it from us. It is just evil in there. Nothing good from that land can prosper. It just wants our destruction.
All of the battlefields in North Aetos were converging all at once on one point. The Chaharians were forced north and west by the Alani after they came up from the Targent Sea. The Dronlandi and Des were forced south as the Gendroni and Imatridan resistance fought back against them. And the Tayans, they were right in the midst of everything. In Taylor, internal unease permeated everywhere. Random assassinations took place throughout the whole entire country, and nobody thought they were safe. Then came the Great Battle. The Great Collapse was the battle where every single North Aetos army met. Zeta, Dronland, Des, and Char faced off against Alankul, Taylor, Imatrida, Gendron. These 8 countries were at each other's throats, and it was the turning point of Aetos. But the actual turning point was not, in fact, the battle. It was what happened afterward. Inside of Taylor, things instantly changed. Commander Nexus of the Imatridan army, one of the players, made her way back to the capital and seized the crown. Before the Great Collapse, she had met with the king and gave him an ultimatum. Either way, he would give her the crown. But the Great Battle pulled her away and she had to go to the east. When she came back, though, she took the throne. And now she is the Queen of Nexus, as the old King Drado is now on the run. With Nexus taking the throne, she has many policies in mind that need to be changed.
Right now is a transition period for Taylor. Of course, I took over the throne. So just trying to get our country back to the state that it needs to be in at the current moment.
What is your plan for the Chaharian front? You're winning and then you're losing. Do you think what do you think the future is for that front? Especially with you as queen now, are things going to change, or are you still just going to push forward?
My current plan is that we are still fighting a multi-front war, and if we can end the fighting on one side, then the fighting in the other will be easier, obviously. Our conflict with Zeta has been going on for a very long time, and I feel no need to continue it.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, they are doing nothing for us, and the only energy we use on them is to try to take them back, but that's obviously not going to happen. This is as a leader, you have to find both your wins and your losses, and deciding that this is a loss that we can bear to ignore as we focus more on the current, more important front is important.
So what you're saying is that you are giving the Zaydens their freedom?
Yes.
That is some very interesting news. I'm a little bit shocked by that myself. So, when are you going to make this announcement?
Honestly, I feel like a coordination is a great catalyst for large news, as many invitations have been sent out, including to Zayden generals.
So, with that in mind, Zayden freedom, what are you going to do about the Zayden Dronlandi front?
We have stayed committed to keeping Imathuida safe, and we will continue using our forces to help them as best we can.
Okay. So, you don't want a multi-front war. How does that apply to this war? Do you think the Zaydens will back down once they hear that they have been given their freedom? Or do you think they'll keep fighting? What do you think the Dronlandi will do if either of those arguments are true?
Well, even if Zeta decides to continue fighting, which, knowing one of their generals, they will continue fighting. Hopefully, our goal is to lessen the threat. Many soldiers fight for their freedom, and once they get that freedom, there will be no reason to continue.
What is your plan for Jahar? Do you see an end to this war?
I do. I share the sentiment I share with Zeta, with Jahar. I think one day we could even find peace. But for now, the fighting must continue.
I heard some concerning news about attacks on farms by an unknown foe. Have you heard this, and do you have something to say as Queen of Taylor?
I have not heard of these specific claims, and if they are just rumors, they'll be treated as such. But if we get evidence of an enemy in our country, it will be dealt with swiftly.
Do you have any plans for Alan Hul?
They have been our strongest and closest ally, our oldest ally, and we will protect them with the same loyalty we have to our own people.
In North Aetos, peace was being offered, but that's how it has always been throughout history. Over the eons, peace and war has been a constant cycle of the ages. For many, many years, war ravaged the continent, especially during the Mage Wars. The Mage Wars are often forgotten or overlooked, but the Mage Wars actually shaped most of what Aetos is today. You can read about the Mage Wars now, before anybody else, on the Aetos Pass. Along with the lore of the Mage Wars, you can unlock epic rewards and experience the Days of Darkness. The Season 10 Aetos Pass has been launched, so go check it out now on my Patreon, link is in the description. As peace and war was taking place in North Aetos, prospects between Yarrow and Zuda were taking place in South Aetos.
I mean, I can't speak for everyone. There are a lot of people who really hate the Zidans amongst my ranks. Especially after the death of General Ozari. But I think taking Dorthica would be more than enough. We are at war with Fransos and his united Zuda. We're not at war with Zuda as a whole. Not that it's really a whole, it's kind of all split apart. But yeah, Dorthica. Maybe a bit further, but that's the main thing.
I've heard rumors of talks between you and General Draka of Zuda. Can you elaborate on those rumors? What is going on there?
Yeah, so quite a lot has developed about that today. I've been kind of doing a lot recently, but I've met Draka on 2 occasions now, discussing his proposition, quite an interesting proposition, and it's caused some division within my ranks recently. Do you want me to go into detail about what the proposition is, or?
Yes.
Okay. So Draka has some sort of new master, calls him a patron, Morkos. Now, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if he's even a guy. I know that he's powerful, or I know based on Draka's word, which isn't fully trustworthy. He did not only kill Ozari, but stab his own general in the back, and is now looking to do more harm to his country. So I don't know how trustworthy he is, but he says that Morkos is very powerful, and that Morkos wants him to take Yarrow. And his proposition is that in order to avoid bloodshed, he will take part in an honor duel of sorts with a Yarrowan. If he wins, then he, and by extension this Morkos fella, will essentially rule Yarrow, because that's the task he's been given. And if he loses, he will fight against Rensos with us.
What was your first inclination when he began those talks?
It's difficult. I mean, my immediate thought is that it was very interesting. First of all, who this Morkos thing is, what they want. There's immediately a lot of questions, and that that's what I did. I questioned them about it a lot afterwards before I even considered telling it to anyone else. But I think the main thing is that even I'd say I'm one of the more lenient Hurons. When it comes to stuff like this, I don't think he's gonna get away with it. I don't think it's gonna happen. Although, like I said, it's interesting, and it would be an interesting thing to happen. Maybe it will happen, but there are a lot of people in Yarrow that I can think would despise the idea of wagering their sovereignty over their own country, just so that this guy can appease his maybe supernatural patron. And that's just about where I sit on it right now. I haven't really gone one way or the other, but like I said, I definitely agree with it more than most Hurons do. That isn't to say that I do agree with it, though.
what do you think about the Yaroan takeover of Garamaskos?
It is an unfortunate loss. If Garamaskos used to be my home, hopefully we can reclaim it peacefully, because I just don't want to fight anymore.
So I actually heard from General Thanur about your proposition of a duel to the death for the fate of Yarrow and Zuda. What is your thoughts behind that?
Well, I'm tired of all the needless bloodshed, and I feel it would be prudent to fight a one-on-one, and with our lives at stake, to decide the victor. And I will make sure everything is in order so that if I lose, my troops will back off, let Yarrow do what they need, give them peace.
If Yarrow wins, what do you think will happen?
From what I've seen, they don't seem like they'll conquer all of us. Or at least not all of them seem to want that. Mostly just what is under Rensos is their main enemy. So I do think it is possible that after they defeat Rensos, the 3 remaining free states will be mostly fine. And I think they'll have measures in place to make sure people don't rebel and they wouldn't be tyrants.
What plans do you have for Yarrow if Zuda ends up winning?
I'm hoping that I will not be forced to kill them or annihilate them. I wish for them to just stop the fighting and live peacefully alongside us, maybe establish trade. So then, because there's no real reason for us to be fighting against each other. We're all alone down here.
All of Aetos was on the knife's edge. Tip this way, and it could mean all-out war. Tip the other, and it could mean peace for Aetos. But as all of this unfolds, there is a darkness awakening in Aetos. As the Watch investigates the Isles of Ice, the Islands of Mist awakens to a former darkness. Trolls and warriors of the darkness attack the Watchers unprovoked. And across the sea, the Whispering Wastes awakens as well. A darkness that has slumbered in Aetos for many years. A darkness that once sparked the Mage Wars. Abominations have been seen outside the borders of the Whispering Wastes, and things aren't right in the Northern Lands. But what actually is the Whispering Wastes? Well, long ago they were mages and sorcerers who fought against Droneland and Taelar. They are situated between the two countries on the northwestern peninsula. But after the Mage Wars that happened thousands of years ago, the mages and sorcerers closed off their lands to everybody. They went dormant. Nothing was ever heard from the Whispering Wastes again. Abominations and monsters were seen on the borders protecting the lands. But now, after their thousands of years of silence, they are coming once again for Taelar, Droneland, the rest of Aetos. Now, the Whispering Wastes is the Season 10 faction. They are a faction of mages and sorcerers, humans actually, and they wield blood magic. From the ground and from their blood they make abominations. Blood magic cannot create. It can only destroy or corrupt. But blood magic, through its corruption and destruction, does grant a certain immortality to the wielder. But as is the theme of blood magic, it comes with a cost. Whose side will you join in Season 10? Will you become part of the darkness, or will you fight for the freedom of Aetos, or the continued war of Aetos? Join us on Discord and join your faction. Link is in the description, and I will see you there. Happy questing.